Hello, friends. Welcome into the Georgia World Convention Center here in downtown Atlanta, Georgia. That, of course, is the 41-year event in May. I am Spencer Holbrook, and we are here in Atlanta. Ohio State just concluded its team media day. Yep. The entire team talked here in the convention center, and now Notre Dame is getting ready to go, but we're sneaking in some rapid reactions, I guess, before then. Tim, what did you learn from the Buckeyes here today? Ryan Day spoke, and then all 85 players spoke.
Yeah. One little story I'm working on for probably Monday's game is just what it has meant to get Caleb Downs on this football team from an awareness standpoint, from his just football acumen, much less the plays he's made. I got a couple of views from several different players and coaches of the difference. There's no reason to believe they wouldn't be here without him either, but the difference he's made that's helped them get here, because we all know a year ago he was just moving up from Alabama, and now this is when your great players really have to play great and deliver, and he's primed for it. You know, he's in basically his home area, and he's pretty fired up about it. Also learned, just the give and take Chip Kelly has with Will Howard is something special that you've seen it blossom more and more as the season's gone on, and now here's your moment, right? Yeah, the big bouquet on the big stage, and will it work one more time?
The thing that I learned was how valuable Trayanum Henderson is for this team, on and off the field.
You had to learn that here?
Well, I'm doing a big story on Trey because I talked to a lot of guys.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to know what the most underrated part of Trey is. Whether it's off the field, we know what he means to this team from a spiritual standpoint and doing those kind of things, but then also what he means from a standpoint of hey, this is a guy who can hit a home run on every single play that he has the football.
Yeah.
What's the most underrated part of that experience with Trayanum? The answers are wild. They're fantastic. I also asked some guys what their favorite Trey moment is so far, because he could have a magical moment in the title game.
Give me one hint. What did somebody say?
Yeah, Josh Fryers is not what you would expect. I will say that Lathan Ransom definitely brought up the Texas screenplay that will go down in Trayanum Henderson canon, I guess.
Yeah.
Because of the way that he revitalized them for the half there down in Dallas last week.
As I said, as I tweeted, kaboom.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was a kaboom moment. And the way that revitalized the defense heading into the half, that meant a lot to this entire team. Not only the offense to get back on track, but the defense to be lifted back up after giving that touchdown away. Trayanum means so much to these guys. I wanted a lot of them to put it into words. Yeah. Players, coaches, people around the building, just asking people whether it's on the record or, just getting some background information about what he means.
Sure.
I really had a good time doing it, and I spent a lot of time here in the media center doing that. It's going to be worth the read, I think, on LettermenRow.com. Go to LettermenRow.com, $1 for your first 7 days. That's full coverage of the title game this week in Atlanta. But yeah, my big goal was to find out more about Trayanum Henderson here, and I definitely did that.
Yeah. I mean, I always enjoy any audience I get, whether it's just me and them or me and 50 other guys and them. But I'll enjoy my audiences with Chip Kelly and Jim Knowles.
Yeah.
Jim Knowles, man, as we stand here in the busy World Conference Center.
Busy.
But Jim Knowles is just a different dude.
Yeah.
And you can tell he's always thinking about his job, his job of which is to orchestrate schemes to stop other teams. And then Chip Kelly, I think you agree with me. We had a few doubts occasionally this season on some of the play calling, thoughts that you could read into some of the games, and then some of those moments of flat brilliance. And you just get the sense that he's really looking forward to this moment of playing for a national championship again.
Yeah.
Because we all know that Auburn game way back when Auburn had that bizarre play near the end where the running back didn't go down.
Michael Dyer.
Exactly. And ended up being a legend, and Chip Kelly's team lost that game. He's been waiting for a while to have another shot at this.
Yeah, he certainly has. And there's storylines everywhere throughout this building. There are fans on the other side to be here with the teams and to cheer the teams on. There was a heavy Ohio State contingent, a little sights and sounds here. because we can't just talk about what was going on with the ball. Like, there's fans here. There's a ton for them to do.
Yeah.
Every player was here. There were games being played. There were interviews happening. What's the, people love the vibe thing, Tim.
Yeah.
What did you get as the vibe going into Monday night from seeing the whole team here in the convention center on Monday?
I don't think this team is overconfident by any stretch, but there's a confidence about this team. There's almost a professional feel. I got to cover pro football way back in the late 70s, early 80s, and there's a professional feel about this team. Not just that they're everybody has an NIL deal, but I mean just their competence and confidence. They finally reached that in it's going to be a fourth game in the postseason that I didn't think they got to in the regular season. And because it was kind of hit or miss. And then, their big tests, let's face it, against Oregon, they came so close.
Yeah.
Against Penn State, they had to have a goal line stand and then a drive off the goal line to hang on to that game. And then, of course, we know what happened against Michigan. Really, their three biggest tests. Yeah, you throw Indiana in there. I don't put Indiana on the same level as Penn State yet. I guess like a lot of Southeastern Conference guys, right?
Yeah.
But they played, I think you agree, since that player meeting the day after the Michigan game, the Michigan loss, they've been a different team. And Ryan Day's been, I think, a different coach. I think the whole staff has been different. They understand what they had here, and you don't want to waste it. I was on a radio show the other day, and I equated it to, for example, Ryan Day waking up that next morning, if he ever went to sleep, and wiping the fog off his mirror in his bathroom and going, hey, this is a new day. Things have got to change. We're still in this thing. We have a month and a half to make something special. I think they've gotten to that moment.
Yeah, it's a new day in many ways because it's a new Ryan Day, but it's also a new day for the program. Like, completely different look against Tennessee, against Oregon, against Texas even. Like, there was that look in their eye that Ryan Day always likes to talk about. This is a confident, loose bunch is what I got from this. The specialists were over there hanging out with the greatest athlete to ever live, Joey Chestnut, who is here in the building. There's guys playing some jokes on each other, and then when it's time to do an interview, they just lock in.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best thing about this team right now is, like you said, like when they needed to be NFL-wide, when they needed to be like an NFL team and be able to be loose and then lock in on their job during the game, they've done a hell of a job of that the last few weeks, Tim. With the Tennessee game, they felt loose and fast and ready to go for that game, but they locked in.
Yeah.
Ahead of the Oregon game, we had a media day where we watched the entire team. They're playing Jenga and Uno and fake poker, and then when it was time to lock in, they beat the hell out of Oregon.
Well, we think it was fake poker. They may have determined among themselves this Jenga block counts so much. I'll settle up with you at the hotel.
But you know what I mean? Like,
yes, I know exactly what you mean.
They found ways to be loose, and then when it's time to lock in, they do that. And I think I got that sense again today. Like, this isn't a team that's going to be really loose or that's going to be really tight. Going into a national championship game. Ryan Day's coached in these games. A lot of these coaches have been in these moments. This is a veteran group. Like, they know what they're doing. They're not afraid of the moment. And I think that's the thing that I get from this team right now is, like, they are embracing being in Atlanta for the championship game. Lathan Ransom said it at his podium. Or maybe Emeka said it at his podium. It was Emeka. You know that it's a title game. You can't hide from the fact that it's a title game. You know that it's not the same. It's much different. But when the ball's kicked off, like, it's just football. It's the same.
Hey,
and I think this team does a really good job of that right now.
That was the same.
They did do a good job against Michigan with that, like locking in for what is a different game.
It's going to feel.
That's on three River Bailey right there walking in front of us.
Good job, man.
We're on camera, River. It's okay, buddy.
Yeah, maybe we should stand closer. Get Dennis Dodd to walk through. Cameo. Let's stand a little bit closer. So,
Tim, we're having fun. That's the bottom line.
I know.
And that's the vibe that I was talking about. It's like Ohio State did the same thing. Like, they were having fun here, and I think that's a good sign.
Yeah, Notre Dame's going to have fun, too. I mean, we're going to talk to them here in about 5 or 10 minutes. But the bottom line is you really need to go into this game thinking, just like you did 4 games into the season last year, Ohio State at Notre Dame. I'm telling you, more people left the tailgates to go home than went into the stadium that day. This has the same kind of vibe to it. I think what could cool this vibe down is the fact that a finger of the polar vortex, which people back in Ohio are already feeling, is going to hit this area tomorrow and Monday. We'll see how much that dampens the mood to a certain extent. But luckily, this game is not played outdoors. It's going to be played indoors. But the other thing I'd like to say about this Ohio State team is I don't know if you can ever get a collection of players like this again. I'm talking about, we talked about it before the season started, the number of guys who returned, much because of Jack Sawyer's convincing them to return. Emeka Egbuka praying on it for 3 or 4 days before he decided to make it. But then you get a guy from like Caleb Downs and Seth McLaughlin and that group that transfers in, not the least of whom was Will Howard. And then, of course, the rising players within the program. I think in this modern day, it's going to be difficult to duplicate a roster like this ever again.
Yeah, I think so too. And that's what makes this group special. We'll see if they become even more. We'll see if they become even more special on Monday night against Notre Dame. For now, we're here in the convention center talking Ohio State Notre Dame.
I do want to mention one name before we get out of here. Make sure we don't go.
We got to make it quick.
Jeremiah Smith. I just wanted to say that name.
Okay, well, Jeremiah's really good. He was around. Nick, you don't have to hit stop. I'll hit stop on this. The national championship trophy's over there. We're gonna go. Tim's gonna go try to get his hands on it, like Nick Cage in National Treasure with the Declaration of Independence.
Yep.
There's a dancing pylon over there. He's got his arms and legs. He's a 6-foot-tall pylon named Perry. Nick Walker's gonna go have a dance with that guy. I'm just gonna get to work. We're having a good time here in Atlanta. It's National Championship weekend. Tim made the 41-year vet. I'm just Spencer Holbrook. Nick Walker behind the camera. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you guys over at LettermenRow.com. $1 for your first 7 days. We'll see you over there at LettermenRow.com.